ESPN Pensacola 1330.
I'm Barry Cole, owner of Beret Jewelers. What do you think when you hear 60 to 70% off diamonds? If you're equipped with a good truth filter, a loud alarm goes off in your head and screams, mark up to mark down, mark up to mark down. At Beret Jewelers, we don't mark it up to mark it down, but I promise you we will always be the lowest price on comparable quality diamonds and jewelry. You don't stick around for 32 years unless you've done just that. Like people, diamonds have levels of integrity. Our job at Beret Jewelers is to find you that perfect diamond with strong levels of integrity, diamonds that are properly graded and beautifully cut so many years down the road it shimmers, shines, and stands out in a crowd. Sometimes the hidden treasure is right in your backyard, and for diamonds and jewelry, it's here at Beret Jewelers, brand new location next to Bonefish Grill on 12th Avenue or in Gulf Breeze. I'm Barry Cole from Beret Jewelers, and I want to be your jeweler.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Hey, Chad Berliante here from the Sports Drive. Well, mixed bag in the South in college football this week. Not the best overall week for the SEC, but Alabama and Georgia continue to win. While in Tallahassee, more domain names are being bought, like Fire Taggart or FreeWilly.com. Probably don't want to Google the last one. Awesome to see a record-setting performance from Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma, much sooner than many expected. And Bo knows comebacks at Auburn. I'll join myself and Joe Ford 5 to 7, Monday through Friday, for the Sports Drive, right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is a message for all parents. If you as an adult think it's tough being separated or divorced, have you truly stopped to consider how your being separated or divorced affects your children? How parents treat one another, either during or after divorce, can have lifelong effects on your children. Whether you are separated from your spouse or even actually divorced, in either situation, keep in mind that you and your spouse are parents forever. Hello, my name is Stephen T. Holman, and I am a family law attorney. If you have questions regarding custody, visitation, or child support, call me today for a free consultation at 435-6909. That's 435-6909.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. WEBY Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. I'm Joe Ford along with Coach K. Stevenson. You are listening to Talk Football with Coach K live every Monday through Friday from noon until 1 o'clock. Glad you're with us today. A lot to get to. The big news coming out of the NFL, more trouble for Antonio Brown as he is facing a civil lawsuit against a former trainer, or a former trainer is filing a civil suit against Antonio Brown, alleging sexual abuse, rape, whatever term you want to use, multiple times against Antonio Brown. We have not heard from the National Football League whether they intend to place him on the commissioner's exempt list. We heard from Coach Bill Belichick and Drew Rosenhaus, Antonio Brown's agent, within the last hour. We'll hear what both men have to say. But Coach, hardly the news that the Patriots wanted. By all appearances, it did not appear that the Patriots knew that this was a thing until after they signed him. So there's even some questions about whether or not the Patriots will even put up with whatever happens, regardless if they just may cut ties. But Coach Bill Belichick said that he does plan on having Antonio Brown at a practice today. So they are just taking a wait-and-see approach. But I believe, Coach, the next domino to fall in this would be whether or not Antonio Brown is placed on the commissioner's exempt list. And when you're talking about something like this that Antonio Brown is facing, we certainly have to be very careful. And I know that the initial reaction for a lot of people when stories like this come up is to choose sides. That is neither what we are going to do nor what we should do in an instance like this. At least, Coach, speaking for me, this is a very tricky subject to negotiate around. We know the allegations. Too often, there have been instances where the accused has been found guilty in the court of public opinion and have had their lives ruined before facts come out to the contrary. Also, there have been many times where the accuser has kind of been invalidated in the court of public opinion, only to come find out that he or she's story was correct, but the vitriol that they receive has a negative impact on their life as well. So regardless of what you think of Antonio Brown, for all the stuff that we've been through, for all of the stuff that we've seen in this offseason, if he is found to have done these things that he's being accused of, I would certainly hope and expect that he be punished to the furthest extent, whether that's in terms of the law, whether that's in terms of the National Football League. If he is found to not have committed the crimes that he is accused of, then I would hope that he would be completely exonerated from that, both in terms of the law and in public opinion as well. So that's where I'm at. You know, I'm right down the line here.
Well, I understand, and you're exactly right that we shouldn't go too far one way or the other on it.
Yeah.
But we do have to report
Sure.
as we hear it. Now, there's some very big differences here. This is not a criminal. This is a civil.
Correct.
Okay. And the whole picture is very, very distasteful. I mean, my goodness, I have 3 daughters, so I tend to be very, very cognizant of anything that might happen regarding these types of things. And I just, it's very distasteful to me. So I don't want to go overboard on it one way or the other. I think if he did do something, but you know, let's hold on a minute now. We have to go back and look at what happened to the Supreme Court justice. You know, when he was being tormented,
Kavanaugh.
By Congress, and so many other. There are a couple of other situations where people have lost everything. You know, their families and whatever because of false allegations. I think that is terrible, absolutely terrible. I wish there was a magic pill that could force the truth out right away. But we have to keep in mind now this is not a criminal allegation. It is a civil. Okay, so I don't know how that plays, Joe, as far as the Patriots and the National Football League are involved. But I, like you, if he is guilty of this and he has violated this woman, then he doesn't need to be in football or anywhere else. In fact, there needs to be some type of punishment for somebody like that.
Yeah, so really just a wait and see approach. That certainly sounds like what the New England Patriots are doing. We heard on the noon Eastern Time Sports Center, his agent Drew Rosenhaus was on there. This was comments that he made on the Antonio Brown situation. Again, Drew Rosenhaus on Sports Center at noon Eastern Time.
Antonio and I have been unfortunately anticipating this possibility. And what I want to emphasize is that Antonio takes these allegations very seriously. He is a loving father of 5 children, including a daughter. I myself am a father, and I have 2 children, 2 daughters that I love very much, along with my wife. I wouldn't be doing this interview if I didn't believe Antonio. These allegations are false. He denies every one of them. I am very confident that his legal team has facts that will prove this. All we can ask for is that people keep in mind that this is a civil matter. This is not a criminal matter. This is a civil case right now, and there's a procedure. I've been an NFL agent for 30 years, and my concern is that people judge Antonio without knowing the facts.
So again, Drew Rosenhaus on SportsCenter just a few minutes ago there. So again, bringing up some of the stuff. Of course, he's going to back his client. But again, for whatever you think of Antonio Brown, if you think he's a clown, whatever, for all the stuff that he put the Raiders through and just all the behavioral issues that crept up. He moved to New England. So whatever you think about him, nobody would deserve that, not even Antonio Brown, if these allegations are false and to be crucified in the court of public opinion. And on the other side, Coach, we're both in agreement.
Yeah,
as well.
There's no question about that. There's one little sneaky thing here that I'm not a conspiracy theorist on everything, believe me. But this guy, we've heard everything in the world while he's been out at Oakland about him that you can imagine. Most of it, almost all of it, negative. Why, if this was something that everyone knew about, why didn't it come out before? It only comes out after he goes to the New England Patriots. Now, is this something that somebody was harboring in abeyance of him going to the pay? I don't know. I'm not.
Well, you bring up a good question, though, because Rosenhaus at the very beginning of this had said that this was something that he and Antonio Brown were anticipating for a while.
Yeah.
So to be cut from the Raiders, and again, we have no inside info on whatever conversations that Rosenhaus had with the Patriots, but this was something that went down just 3 days ago where Antonio Brown's cut from the Raiders and then he signs with the Patriots. I would think that there might be, from the Patriots, a due diligence in saying, hey, Drew, we need to know everything that's going on. If we're going to take a chance on your client, if we're going to pay him, and if you're trying to get the 3% commission or whatever it is, you guys need to be forward with us. So now that may and may not have happened. Drew Rosenhaus may not have said, hey, hey, Bill, or whoever he was on the line with, to say, hey, this is something that could come down. It doesn't sound like it did.
No. My question is this: why didn't it come up from the Oakland Raiders or the National Football League when he was out there on the West Coast? Why did it only come up after he goes to the Patriots? And it's not the Patriots' obligation to go find every skeleton in the closet once a guy has gotten to the point that he is NFL property. Okay. Now, when they're trying to decide on a draft pick, yeah, you've got to go check out even back to their grammar school days. But in a situation like this, I mean, the only point I'm making is, why didn't this come out when he was on the West Coast, or the National Football League bring it out some way? And he goes to the Patriots, and 2 days after he goes to the Patriots, this comes out. I don't know. It just seems a little phony to me. I don't know, but it's probably just coincidence. And like we said before, whatever is fair here needs to happen. We want to happen.
Also heard from head coach Bill Belichick, going to play the entirety of his press conference that he had with the media today. The weekly availability that head coaches have with the media usually falls this time of the week. So clearly he was going to be asked about this, and if you have been living under a rock for the last 20 years, we can tell you that Bill Belichick never really says anything that he doesn't want it out there. So a pretty tense session with the media here today. This is it in its entirety. About a couple of minutes, but you'll hear some interesting things here.
To the situation, we're taking it very seriously, all the way through the organization. Sure, there are questions, but I'm not going to be entering into a discussion about that today. So right.
Bill, were you aware of the lawsuit when you signed Antonio Brown?
I'm not going to be expanding on the statements that have already been given.
Don't you think the fans deserve to hear a little more from you on
when we know
such
more,
a
we'll
major
say more.
development that, could impact the team?
Yeah, I just said that.
Don't you think fans deserve to hear a little bit more?
When we know more, we'll say more.
Are you preparing to have Antonio Brown at practice today?
Yes.
And are you preparing for him to play on Sunday?
We're taking it one day at a time, just like we always do.
Are you preparing for the possibility that he could be on the commissioner's?
We're preparing for one day at a time.
How much weight would the allegations against him weigh into whether or not you play him on Sunday?
Yeah, I appreciate all the questions, and that's what's been said has been said.
Bill, you brought up Randy Moss yesterday. Do you think that Antonio Brown will require as much attention as Moss did to get him in sync with the team?
Yeah, I didn't say that.
I'm asking you.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know if he'll require more attention?
No.
How difficult or frustrating is it to have a distraction like this right at the beginning of the season when you're...
Yeah, we're working on Miami. We're working on Miami. The rest of it is, we're on Miami.
You've had bigger distractions before. Are you confident that this is not going to throw you off track at all?
We're working on Miami. Went through the scouting report, went through the game plan today. We're going to practice for Miami.
Can you tell us at all what Antonio Brown has said to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm done with that. Okay? Anything else on Miami?
Done with it in what way, sir?
Any other questions?
Can you explain what you mean when you're done with it? I mean, we're just trying to find out if he said anything to you about his position and about the allegations.
Yeah, and I just answered that question.
Well, actually, you did.
Actually, I did.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
Okay.
So, Bill Belichick, his press conference in entirety there.
Yeah, and hey, listen, that's what he should have done. This is a legal matter. He really doesn't need to be commenting on it one way or the other. You say, well, how does it affect the football team? He can't really comment on how it affects the football team. He doesn't know yet.
Antonio Brown has not been I don't think he's been about practice yet. I think today would be his first practice, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But yeah. So again, a couple of things that he said. He does again intend on Antonio Brown being at practice today. That leads me to believe that the Patriots do not plan on just discarding him as a result of this news. So I guess the next step here would be to see if Antonio Brown shows up on the commissioner's exempt list. As we know and as we have seen, the standard of proof or the onus on this from a Commissioner Goodell standpoint is far less than in certainly in the legal realm. We've seen players go on this list because of accusations. So again, we'll wait and see, but that would be the next domino here that falls.
Yeah, right now these are allegations. You hit it right on the head, and now nobody is protecting him. If these are true, then he should be punished. We've said that, and I think everybody would agree with that.
Yeah.
But then again, Belichick and all who are involved here are smart enough to know that there are at least two others that didn't make it, but there are at least two justices on the Supreme Court that had people believed in these allegations would not be there today. So you just got to be so careful with this, and it's really a touchy situation.
Until we hear otherwise, I guess we'll move on. But final question, Coach, before we hit a break here: gut instinct. Do you think he is on the field on Sunday?
Gut instinct would say at this point, yes. Now, do they actually need him, certainly against Miami? No. Do they take a step toward holding off until they know more, or give him a chance to learn more. That's always a possibility. But my gut feel is, he'll be there.
My gut feeling as well at this point is yes, he'll play. I think if he does play, it'll be in a limited capacity. The Patriots, at this point, they've been working on their schemes. They've had a lot of turnover, especially on the offensive line. So I think they will work him in, but I would not expect a full complement of snaps
for
Antonio Brown this Sunday as well. So again, we'll certainly keep our eye on this, and anything that any updates from this story, we will certainly let you know. But for now, Antonio Brown is named in a civil suit for accusations of rape. That's where it's at right now. Bill Belichick plans on having him in practice today, not committal as far as would he take the field on Sunday. So that's where we'll leave that. Coming back, a lot of injury news, especially in the last 24 hours or so. Some updates on guys like Tyreek Hill. Big injury problems for the Oakland Raiders, especially in the defensive secondary. Not good news when the Kansas City Chiefs are coming to town. More news and notes from around the NFL coming up next. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical, not for sale to minors. Website restricted to adults 21 and over.
I'd been smoking for a while. I tried vaping when it first came out. It just didn't work for me. But recently, I tried My Blue, and it actually gave me the nicotine satisfaction I was looking for. My Blue is easy to use, and it lasts all day. I even like having the different flavors and nicotine options. It's nice having a choice. I think other smokers will be surprised by My Blue. I certainly was.
And right now, try My Blue for $1 at select retailers or myblue.com.
Golick and Wingo.
A different host from ESPN Radio from around the country is going to make their pick in our Survivor pool.
This is Davis Allen from ESPN Pensacola, and my pick for the Golick and Wingo Survivor pool is Kansas City over the Jacksonville Jaguars.
That might be the toughest game on the board week 1, and Pensacola is swinging with Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes.
5 to 9 every weekday morning. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. Joe Ford and Coach K. Stevenson with you here as we're looking up at the monitors here on the inside the studio. Antonio Brown is on the practice field. Patriots have not assigned him a number yet, wearing number 1, but he is on the practice field at this moment. So last segment we heard from Bill Belichick that he was anticipating him being in practice, and he is. So there we go. But again, Antonio Brown dealing with that civil suit. We'll see what happens. We're both of the opinion that we at this point anticipate seeing him on the field on Sunday. Again, we'll wait and see and update you as we learn more information throughout. A few NFL teams dealing with some injury problems. Of course, they always come up. You never know who it'll be, what team will be ravaged by injuries. So far, headlining injuries include Tyreek Hill, who went out in the first half of the Chiefs game against the Jaguars on Sunday. An update from NFL.com is that he is anticipating being out for about 4 to 6 weeks, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport. So, Coach, so much of the Chiefs' offensive scheme is based on the speed that they have. Tyreek Hill, probably the fastest guy in the NFL right now. So as we kind of turn our attention towards the Chiefs and just moving forward, they'll likely be without Tyreek Hill for about a month. You see this as a big deal, little deal, or no deal when it comes to how their offense will function without him?
Well, someone who has that much skill, that much speed, that much productivity for your football team, when you lose them totally, it's I hate to say it's a big deal because they do have other talent. They do have great speed other than just Tyreek Hill. And they're deep. They've got depth, but it is to a certain degree. It's a serious loss of talent. There's no question about that. I think I think you have to ask it this way: would Kansas City be better having Tyreek Hill available to be on the field whenever they needed him? Yes, absolutely, without any question. So it's a loss. To what degree, because of their depth and their overall speed, the overall speed on their football team, I think it would be very difficult to assign a percentage of loss, but it is a loss.
Another injury problem here for the Oakland Raiders, especially in their secondary. Now, we did get good news yesterday that Garyon Conley, the cornerback, second-year cornerback for the Raiders, was released from the hospital. He posted an update on social media saying that it was just precautionary. He does plan on playing this Sunday against the Chiefs. The bigger problem here, Coach, Oakland Raiders now dealing with the loss of rookie safety Jonathan Abram. He was a first-round pick. He is a guy that kind of stood out as far as different storylines in the Hard Knocks episodes. They love this guy. He's a very aggressive safety. He is going to be out for the rest of the season. So again, Coach, I would ask you, big deal, little deal, or no deal as far as the Oakland Raiders in dealing with this loss?
This is a big deal, and I'll give you a little background here. Jim Haslett, who most of our listeners know out there, former head coach of the Saints, and he's coached at a number of different NFL teams, and was an all-pro player for us at Buffalo. But Jim Haslett said that as he evaluated talent this last year, said there's no question this kid, he's from Mississippi State, was by far the best safety in the draft. He said not by a little margin, but by a great margin. He was the best safety by far in the draft. And Jim loved him. He said, gosh, he's going to be He'll be all pro, probably be all pro his rookie year. And here he gets hurt in the first game, which is a shame because he was a drastic upgrade for Oakland.
Another injury, the New York Jets dealing with their wide receiver core. Now, to kind of help matters here, it was announced that the New York Jets sent a 6th-round pick to the New England Patriots for Demaryius Thomas, and that was interesting because it's the first time those two teams have made a trade since the infamous swap involving Bill Belichick. So this is about 19 years since those two teams have made a trade. The Jets get Demaryius Thomas. Adam Gase in his press conference today said he expects Demaryius Thomas will be on the field playing against the Cleveland Browns on Monday night. Quincy Enunwa, feel really bad for him. In 2017, he missed the entire season due to a neck injury and dealing with another neck injury that will force him on the season-ending IR list. So you certainly feel bad from him. In terms of Quincy Enunwa, the person, the football player, this is certainly a big deal. Whether or not this maybe leads to an early retirement, you certainly hope for ultimately his well-being and that he is able to have a good quality of life. So we're certainly hoping that the best-case scenario is in the future for him. On the football field, Coach, I would think that adding Demaryius Thomas helps soften this blow a little bit. So no deal, little deal, big deal with this injury, given the moves that the Jets have and the personnel that they have as well.
Well, I'll say this is the most unusual deal. Usually you don't want to trade within your own division because if they come back to haunt you, if they come back and have a great game, it's going to be looked upon very closely by your own fans and your own press. So, and especially between the Patriots and the Jets. So I don't know what prompted this deal for Belichick to make it, but he would be the last one I would expect to make a deal within the division. Now, I say that, but by the same token, I think he probably, in bringing in Brown to New England, Demaryius Thomas became a luxury, if you will, or really not going to questionable as to whether they're going to be able to keep him on their football team. Now, the question is, if they had known about this situation that comes up right now, would they have kept him around for insurance? Yeah. So therein lies the question. But it's still a very unusual deal. I think it's a big deal for the Jets. He's had some problems catching the football here recently over the last couple of years, but he is a big, strong, talented receiver who knows the league. Doesn't run much anymore. Doesn't have the speed that, as you might imagine, but he can still get open, and with those good hands and the ability to catch the football, he's going to be an asset.
So the Jets will do without Quincy Enunwa, again expecting Demaryius Thomas to be in uniform when they take on the Cleveland Browns on Monday night. Look around the NFL there. Coming back, we'll hit some college football as we have some games to look forward to now as our attention turns to week number 3 of the college football season. And we'll start looking at some of the games. Not a huge weekend, but some good games nonetheless. So we'll start to talk about that next. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
How good are PXG clubs? Golf writers describe them as absolutely remarkable and the best golf clubs out there. Our customers call them insanely good and say they live up to the hype. So what are you waiting for? Step up your game and enjoy golf more than ever. Call 844-PLAY-PXG, 844-PLAY-PXG, or visit pxg.com to book your custom fitting. PXG. Nobody makes golf clubs the way we do. Period.
Talk football with Coach K every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Noon to 1, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 on the FM. I'm Joe Ford. He's Coach K Stevenson, and busy first half of the program here. Got about another 25 minutes to go. And, Coach, switching gears to the world of college football, as it seems like now that both the college football and NFL seasons are in full swing, there is not enough time in the day to get to everything here. So being that it is Wednesday, we really want to start looking ahead and picking some of these games and seeing what stands out to us as far as storylines in the world of college football. As Thursday we have an NFL game, and then certainly we'll be picking the big games in the NFL schedule later on this week. So Coach, as we've mentioned, it's kind of a I guess we'll say quiet weekend in college football, as it lacks the real sexy matchups that we had from last week. There's no Clemson, Texas A&M. There's no LSU, Texas, but there are some good games out there. And taking a look at some of these, Coach, at 11 o'clock on ABC, a game that historically has meant a lot in the state of Pennsylvania, Pitt and Penn State. It's nice to see these teams playing. I know they played last year. I would like to think that they're trying to make this an annual thing. I know back in the 70s and the 80s, this was a huge deal, especially given how great Pittsburgh was. Of course, the days of Dan Marino, Tony Dorsett, hasn't had the that much whatever term you want to use as far as just oomph in the rivalry lately. But Pitt and Penn State getting things kicked off at 11 o'clock Central Time. So that should be a good ball game, although Penn State is favored by 17. They are the home team, but I know Pitt has played them tough in the last couple of years.
Yeah, I would expect Penn State to win and win handily. I think that's a good point spread. They're probably going to cover that. Pittsburgh's going through a down period. And, to be honest with you, we need to start covering, as you said, some of these games, start talking about them on Wednesday, because there's a lot to talk about, and sometimes there's some behind-the-scenes things that maybe come under the heading of even trivia that people are interested in. Like, for example, when Johnny Majors went to Pitt and won a national championship. One of the most amazing things in the world. Have you ever been on the Pitt campus?
I have not, no.
How you would ever talk a young man into coming there and staying the next 4 years of his life when he had a chance to go anywhere is amazing. But they did it, with most of the kids from the Valley there. They won a national championship. Dorsett was from the Valley. Their whole offensive line, most of those kids came right out of the Valley. They didn't know anything but Pittsburgh.
You talk about Western Pennsylvania in terms of what it's been historically in recruiting as well. For the lack of a quality campus probably not doing Pitt any favors, but they have shown historically that they are capable of having really good teams. Of course, the most recent example in my lifetime would have been the years where Larry Fitzgerald was there. Back in the mid-2000s. But since then, it's been hit or miss. But, man, I'll tell you what, completely unrelated to anything on the field, I am so happy. I'm a nerd when it comes to uniform combinations, and I love the fact that Pitt has gone back to the 1970s look with the the royal blue with the yellow. That just pops right on your TV screen. So I'm glad that they've made the change to kind of go to that retro look that they had. But you may not care about it, but I love teams and I love games that just aesthetically look pleasing to the eye. I'm just kind of a nerd like that. So yeah, give me Penn State with their the uniforms that never change, and then Pitt wearing those beautiful yellow and blue combination. Kind of getting away from that dark blue and gold with the panther head on the side of the helmet. Give me away from that. I want the cursive Pitt on the side of the helmet because that just looks better. It looks perfect. I'll tell you another one. BYU, the game that they played against Utah, where they had those navy blue with the white pants, with the white helmets, the Jim McMahon look, if you recall that from the 80s with the LaVell Edwards teams. Another outstanding look. I wish that BYU would go with that full time. Anyway, I digress. 2:30, Alabama against South Carolina. South Carolina coach, the news came out that they are going to be without their starting quarterback for the rest of the year. The line, 25.5 points in favor of the Tide.
This is going to be an interesting ball game. It's hard to say, Joe, that by any stretch imaginable that South Carolina is going to pull an upset here. But there could be an upset to the extent that Alabama just doesn't blow them out. Yeah, that they play Alabama tougher. I think they're going to play Alabama pretty tough in that especially that first half. And it'll be a more interesting football game than people realize. I think Alabama's going to win it, obviously. But I don't, right now, I would say there's a good chance they don't cover that huge point spread.
Well, we know Chad, co-host of the Sports Drive, has certainly got his calendar circled here. UCF hosting Stanford. This is a very interesting one for me. Two teams that hardly play each other at all. Stanford's going into this one as the underdog. UCF favored by 7.5 points. That one is a really interesting game to me.
It's an interesting game. I when I first heard somebody talk about this being on the schedule for UCF, I thought they had misspoken, and this was Sanford from Birmingham.
Yeah.
Not Stanford. But this is an interesting game of the schedule here. And I'll tell you what's even more interesting, that the first game is being held at the UCF is the home team, number one. And number two, they're favored.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought it, that?
Especially with David Shaw at Stanford. I mean, teams have been so consistent, and really excited to see the two contrasting styles of offense in this game. Stanford has long been the big, beefy guys up front. They like to really ground and pound you offensively. And UCF, they love to play fast and spread people out. So that's a really interesting one. 17th ranked UCF favored by 7.5 points at home against Stanford.
Now, let me tell you another important factor in this ball game, and you just talked about Stanford likes to play their own pace.
Yeah.
UCF likes to speed it up. It's going to be hot in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
It is going to be hot, and it's good. There's going to be humidity and heat there that Stanford has not. There's no way they could be accustomed to it at this point, even if they went in a week early before the game, which is not going to be the case. So that's going to play a part in this ball game, I think, to the advantage of UCF.
Clay Helton out at USC, coaching for his job. He's got the Trojans 2-0 and ranked 24th in the country, beating Stanford last week. They travel to Provo, Utah to take on BYU. BYU coming off of a big win for their program against Tennessee last week. And, Coach, a little bit even more of the spotlight now on Clay Helton now that Lynn Swann has resigned. You would think that depending on who the athletic director is, much like in the NFL, anytime there's a general manager change, usually the general manager likes to pick his head coach. So I anticipate that happening here whenever that decision comes on who the next athletic director will be at USC. But Clay Helton's still the man in charge. He's as a true freshman quarterback. They were able to beat Stanford last week and now travel to BYU. This one is interesting and should be a pretty good game, Coach. USC favored by 4 on the road.
I can buy that. I really can. And I wish them luck. I hope that they do win. I pulled for Helton, certainly. They'd keep his job. And this is probably just in reverse of the way it should be. Rather than a general manager hiring a coach or an athletic director hiring a coach, they should get a coach in and let him hire the general manager or the athletic director. Now, if that's the case and you get the right coach in, I think you've got a much better chance to win football games. And I could name many, but I won't do that again.
The game that College Game Day will be featuring on Saturday is Iowa traveling to Ames to take on Iowa State. Coach, this line is 2.5 points. The over/under 45.5. At least recently in the last few years, this game has always been close, and it has always looked absolutely ugly in terms of just how good the football is. But it's Iowa, it's Iowa State, it's in the middle of the cornfields out there in Ames. Good to see College Game Day going there, so the home crowd is certainly going to be amped up for this one. The state of Iowa shuts down, but Iowa, again, favored by 2.5 points on the road.
This is going to be a good football game.
It is.
Believe me when I tell you this. Iowa State is playing very good football. They did last year. I don't think they've gotten off to exactly the start this year that they would have wanted, but they're a good football team and they're well coached. In fact, their coach has done as good a job as anybody probably in the country. So I expect, I really expect an upset here. I expect Iowa State to win this football game at home. All the fanfare and excitement going on there. I really do. But I think it's going to be a good football game, a good spectator game, Joe, for people to watch.
Call it a revenge game, call it whatever you want, but Florida is taking on Kentucky on the road. Last year it was the Wildcats knocking off the Gators. We heard from Dan Mullen yesterday saying there's not a whole lot that they're really going to take away from last year as the teams have undergone a lot of changes, especially Kentucky with the amount of talent that they lost from a year ago. But both teams are 2-0, and it is the conference opener, so you want to get a leg up, especially as you're contending for not only an SEC title but a national title. As Florida comes in at number 9, they are favored by 8 points on the road, Coach.
Now, I don't want to overblow any of these games or overemphasize, but now this is going to be interesting to me, and not just because I'm a Florida graduate, pulled for Florida, but I think that the young quarterback that from Tate Sawyer-Smith that Kentucky's going with is a very gifted, talented young quarterback. And I think he now has the opportunity there at Kentucky to do some things that maybe nobody thought he would ever have a chance to do, certainly at Troy. But he's got it, and he's in the spotlight, and he's at Kentucky, a Power 5 school. And they're playing the University of Florida, a 9 or 10 rated team in the country this week. I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game. I don't think there's going to be a big point spread. I don't think Florida's going to run away with this ball game by any stretch. I think it's going to. Listen, Kentucky, Stoops has done a heck of a job, and he's created now some base, if you will, as a football team. They've got a little more depth. They've got now they can't compare with Florida with overall talent depth, but they have more depth than you're normally accustomed to, and they have momentum and interest in that football program that they haven't had in a long time. It builds up.
And I'll tell you something else, Coach, that Kentucky has done well recently under Coach Stoops that they haven't done historically is they have recruited well in the state of Ohio. They're not going to compete head to head with Ohio State, but especially in years where Cincinnati has kind of faltered with Tommy Tuberville, and now that Luke Fickell's there, they're starting to kind of emerge back and getting a lot of the 2-3 star guys that other big programs aren't watching or aren't necessarily interested in. But for the last few years, there have been a lot of those type of players who have been going to Lexington, and why not? You get to play in the SEC. You get, in many cases, the opportunity to see significant playing time right away. And so that's something else. We of course, historically have always envisioned Kentucky as a basketball school and then almost like a scheduled win for so often. And now it's not that way at all. So Florida is going to be on upset alert, in my opinion, here.
Well, yes, absolutely. I would agree with you totally. I think they should be on upset alert because that could easily happen in this football game. Now, a couple of other things. You hit on an interesting point there with Kentucky. But what they are also doing is because Louisville is down and because Kentucky Stoops has done such a good job of making this one of his priorities, if there is a good football player in Kentucky, they're getting him now, not Louisville.
Yeah.
And the other thing they're doing, you're right, they're going to the north, and they're also they've got kids from Florida, Sawyer-Smith, for example. They've got a couple of other kids from Florida you'll see in the ball game up there. I can't call their names right now. But they're going to step over into Alabama, Tennessee. They'll pick up one here, one there, and go up north and pick up 2 or 3 or 4. And first thing you know, they've got a pretty good football, but they've got a good base of players. So they know what they got to do. They're doing it. And the other thing, keep in mind, Joe, Kentucky is a school that a lot of kids, if they go there to visit, they're going to like. It's a beautiful place in a beautiful setting, and don't think they don't like that basketball.
Sure.
Having a good basketball team too. So there are a lot of things to like about it, and they're making A right now.
We'll go ahead and take a timeout, and coming back, we'll ask Coach his thoughts on Florida State as they take on Virginia. Virginia ranked team, Florida State 1-1 on the season. And stick around from 1 to 2. Myself and Terry Gross will be in here for Tomahawk Talk, diving in deep to what still ails Florida State, anything positive we can take away from Saturday's win over ULM. So that is coming up at the top of the hour. Final timeout here on Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text. Stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Dude, it's game day and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Cervantes Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
You're in charge of hiring, and Indeed has solutions, like online skills tests, which let a candidate show that they're the right hire. We'll also have a dolphin chatter excitedly in front of the perfect candidate. Okay, there's no dolphin. But skills tests, that's a for sure.
See why independent research by Silk Road shows Indeed delivers 3 times more hires than any other job site. Visit Indeed.com/promo today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies.
Fan babies.
And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1. ESPN Pensacola is now on 1330 FM 99.1.
We're still doing this, right? This is actually happening. We're going to let this happen.
You can also listen anywhere. ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1 FM. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K. We're live each and every weekday from noon until 1. As Wednesday sandwiched in between the recap of everything that we saw the week before and now starting to turn our attention to the week ahead. Thursday night football on the NFL Network will feature the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Carolina Panthers. On Friday night, our high school football game of the week will be out at Washington High School as they host Gulf Breeze. And then, of course, the full slate of games on Saturday. Florida State playing, I think, at 6:30 is the start time in Virginia. And you can catch that game on our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. Terry Gross will be in here at the top of the hour alongside with me here talking everything Florida State, Tomahawk Talk from 1 to 2 each and every Wednesday. So looking forward to hearing what Terry has to say. So be sure to stick around for that as well. Coach, speaking about the Seminoles here, no, we haven't talked about them at length too much yet this week, but they're 1-1. It was an ugly win, but they got the job done ultimately against Louisiana Monroe, and now their first conference opponent is the Virginia Cavaliers, who come in 25th. So things that you would like to see It seems like we have this conversation each and every week. Certainly Florida State fans did last year about things that we want to see improved. We saw turnovers. We saw penalties not be much of an issue in week 1, but that was not the case last week against ULM. Went back and watched the game. The Florida State offense looked great first half. They got out to a 21-0 lead. The defense, for the most part, gave up not a lot of big plays, and then the tide started to turn in the second half, much like we saw in the first game against Boise State. And so don't know if it's just coaching, I don't think effort's an issue. It's just for some reason there's a switch that seems to go off somewhere around halftime, and it's really hard to put your finger on it.
Well, that is difficult. I think one of the things off the top that I see, and I believe sincerely, and let's start by looking at the successful organizations, successful teams. When you get to when you talk about the Patriots, you hear people say the Patriot way. You have to be able to handle the Patriot way. It's a culture. It's a climate. It's a part and parcel of how you conduct yourself, not only every minute of the day during the week, practice meetings, so on, but handle every situation that could come up in a football game, which includes putting the hammer down in the second half. The same would be true if you talk about Alabama. There's a culture there, and you do it the Alabama way. The great Green Bay teams, the Lombardi way. So I could go on and on and on, and we could talk about different ways. It's a culture. It is a way that you are in, that is embedded in you, and you handle yourself accordingly. Florida State doesn't have that culture by any stretch. I think for the most part they're undisciplined. You can't you can't put your finger on what happens at halftime. I'm not sure that you have to. I don't think there's anything magic there. I think it's a culmination of the whole thing: the culture, the spirit, the participation, the undisciplined approach to the game. All those things come together to give you a loss. Now, that's my opinion, and I just think they've got to make some changes, and they've got to get those kids believing.
We'll see if they're able to do that. Again, stay tuned for Tomahawk Talk. Myself and Terry Gross in studio talking all things Florida State. What went right, what went wrong against ULM, and what our expectations are for the week ahead against Virginia. That'll do it for us here, Talk Football with Coach K. Happy Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow at high noon on ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1 FM.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is, bringing your high school football every